March 15th, 44 BC. The air above Rome is cold and heavy. Dawn spills over the Palatine Hill like liquid gold, washing the marble rooftops in light. Inside one of those villas, a man opens his eyes. Julius Caesar, 55 years old, dictator for life, conqueror of Gaul, owner of an empire that stretches farther than any Roman before him ever dreamed. He wakes slowly, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. The sound of the city hums below, carts creaking, vendors shouting, sandals scuffing stone. The empire is already awake, because Caesar is awake. But this morning feels wrong. There's a weight in the air, a kind of stillness before a storm. He can feel it, even if he doesn't admit it. In the next 8 hours, he'll be dead, stabbed 23 times on the floor of the Senate. He doesn't know that yet. Calpurnia does. She's been awake since before dawn, pacing the room in silence. When he turns to her, she's pale, shaking. She dreamed the night before. His statue cracked and blood poured from it, flooding the forum, drowning the people. She clutches his arm. Her voice breaks. "Don't go today, please. The Senate can wait." Caesar smiles. It's the smile of a man who's seen too many wars to fear dreams. "My love," he says softly, "if I hide every time someone dreams of blood, I'd never leave this bed." He stands, wraps his toga over his shoulder. Gold embroidery catches the morning light. He looks every bit the man who conquered worlds, but the eyes behind that confidence are tired, and somewhere deep inside, he knows power paints a target on your back. Outside, servants whisper. They've heard the same rumors Calpurnia has, that senators meet in secret, that Cassius stirs trouble again, that Brutus, Caesar's own friend, avoids his gaze. But none of them would dare speak. Caesar eats little, a piece of bread, a sip of wine. His mind's already racing through the day, new laws to pass, reforms to announce, favors to grant. He's too busy running Rome to stop and think about omens. As he walks toward the door, Calpurnia blocks the way. "Promise me you'll send word. Let the Senate meet without you." Her voice cracks again. He leans close, kisses her forehead, and whispers, "The Ides of March are just another day." Then he steps into the sunlight. The streets greet him with the kind of silence that's not really silence, it's tension. Citizens watch from doorways as his guards clear the path. Some bow, others whisper behind their hands. Everyone knows the rumors. Everyone feels the air changing. Everyone except Caesar. He moves like a man who believes he's immortal. When you've crossed the Rubicon, when you've crushed your enemies, when statues of you stand in every square, it's easy to think destiny can't touch you. Halfway down the hill, an old man steps forward, a soothsayer, wrinkled, eyes clouded with age. He raises a trembling hand. "Beware the Ides of March," he says. Caesar pauses. The guards tense. Then he laughs. "The Ides of March have come." The old man lowers his voice. "Yes, Caesar, but they have not yet gone." For a moment, Caesar's smile falters. Just a flicker. Then he turns away and keeps walking. You can almost hear his sandals hitting the stone, sharp, steady, like a heartbeat. Somewhere in that rhythm, fate is counting down. 8 hours remaining. The forum opens ahead, massive columns reaching into the sky, sunlight cutting between them. Rome is alive. Vendors shout, coins clink, horses whinny. The smell of oil, sweat, and marble dust mixes in the air. He breathes it in like victory. This is the empire he built. This is the power he earned. Marcus Antonius spots him from across the square, his general, his loyal friend. He's been searching for Caesar since sunrise. He hurries over, grabs his arm. There are whispers, Antony says under his breath. The senators meet in small groups. Cassius is nervous. Brutus hasn't spoken all morning. Maybe postpone the session. Caesar shakes his head. No, the Senate waits for no man. Not even me. But you can tell it bothers him, just a little. He's been warned by too many people to ignore the pattern completely. Yet, to show fear now, after years of victory, would ruin everything he's built. Power only works if everyone believes you're untouchable. So he keeps walking. And behind him, in shaded corridors and marble halls, 60 men prepared to make sure he isn't. They gather inside the Theater of Pompey, an old stone building just off the Forum, the Senate's temporary home. Inside, the light is dim, the air thick with whispers. Cassius leans against a column, dagger hidden beneath his toga. Brutus stands near the entrance, silent, pale. He hasn't slept. He doesn't want this, but he's convinced himself it's the only way to save Rome. One by one, they take oaths not to flinch, not to hesitate. Each believes he's about to become a savior. None realize they're about to destroy the Republic forever. Back outside, Caesar stops for a moment near the steps of the Forum. A young man pushes through the crowd, scroll in hand. His name is Artemidorus, a teacher. He's discovered the conspiracy. He knows who the plotters are, where they plan to strike, even what daggers they carry. He runs up, breathless. "Caesar, read this. It's about your safety. Urgent." Caesar takes the scroll. He glances at the man, confused but polite. Then he looks up. All around him, people press closer. Petitioners, soldiers, courtiers. Everyone wants something. He slips the scroll into his hand, but doesn't open it. "I'll read it later," he mutters. Later never comes. The sun climbs higher. The streets shimmer in the heat. Somewhere far above, a sundial casts a shadow. 6 hours remaining. He reaches his litter, but before he steps inside, he stops, looks back toward his villa. For the briefest second, you can almost see the thought cross his face. Maybe Calpurnia was right. But then he turns away. A few streets over, Antony's still trying to reach him again, blocked by the crowd. He's too late. As Caesar's procession moves toward the Theater of Pompey, people watch in silence. Some nod respectfully. Others avert their eyes. Everyone feels that strange weight in the air, like thunder waiting to break. When you live in a world built on omens and prophecies, you learn to listen to silence. Rome is loud when it's calm, quiet when it's afraid. Inside the theater, the conspirators wait. The marble floor gleams. Statues of old generals stare down from alcoves. Cassius paces. Brutus rubs his hands. They've rehearsed every move. Who distracts, who blocks the doors, who strikes first. They don't know which moment will start it, only that it must happen before the meeting ends. And outside, unaware, Caesar climbs the steps. Guards push the doors open. Light floods in. Senators rise to greet him. They bow, voices echoing through the hall. "Hail Caesar." He walks to his golden chair at the center of the room. Every step echoes like a drumbeat. He sits, and the trap begins to close. You can almost feel the tension thickening in the air. 60 men breathing too fast, palms sweating under their robes, eyes darting to one another. To Caesar, it looks like respect. To them, it's panic. One senator steps forward holding a petition. "Caesar, we beg you to recall our exiled brother." Another steps closer, pretending to plead. Then another. They form a circle around him. For the first time, Caesar's smile fades. He looks from face to face, realizing how close they've drawn. Somewhere in the crowd, a dagger shifts beneath fabric. A heartbeat later, history moves. The first knife doesn't kill him. It just surprises him. A sharp sting at his shoulder. He turns, confused, angry, expecting to see a clumsy servant or some fool tripping on a bench. But what he sees are eyes, cold, focused eyes, and a flash of metal. The second strike comes fast, then a third, then a fourth. The room erupts into chaos. Benches scrape, togas twist. The Senate, the heart of Rome's power, becomes a slaughterhouse in seconds. Caesar stumbles to his feet, roaring in disbelief. "What is this violence?" His voice echoes through marble. No one answers. Each man takes his turn. Cassius, Casca, Decimus. They swarm him like wolves. Knives flash in the dim light, cutting through cloth and skin. He grabs one attacker by the wrist, shoving him back with surprising strength. For a moment, he looks unstoppable. The general who crossed the Rubicon, the man who faced down legions. He bleeds, but he fights. And then he sees Brutus. The crowd seems to blur around him. Every noise fades. It's just the two of them now. Brutus, pale, trembling, dagger shaking in his hand. Caesar freezes. His eyes soften. You can almost hear the silence between them, the space where friendship used to live. Then Brutus steps forward, and Caesar stops fighting. His arms drop to his sides. He whispers, almost too quiet to hear.
"Et tu, Brutus? You too, Brutus?" He pulls his toga over his face. Even now, he wants dignity. He won't let them see fear. The next blows come like thunder, steel against flesh, marble splattered red. 23 wounds. Not all fatal, but enough. He collapses at the base of Pompey's statue. The irony is brutal. Pompey, the rival Caesar once defeated to claim this city, now watches as Caesar dies at his feet. Blood pools around the statue's stone sandals, turning them dark. The hall goes quiet. Knives fall from shaking hands. For a moment, no one moves. Then Cassius exhales, a long, shaky breath. "It's done," he whispers. Brutus stands frozen, dagger still in his hand, his toga splattered with blood. He thought there'd be relief, pride, maybe peace. Instead, there's just silence. You can almost hear the sound of history shifting. Outside, Rome hums as always, vendors shouting, horses clattering on stone. No one knows that the Republic just killed itself. Inside, senators look around, unsure what to do. Their robes are ruined, their hands stained. They start murmuring about freedom, about saving Rome. But even as they talk, they glance at the body on the floor, and none of them can look for long. Caesar's form is still. Blood seeps into the cracks of the marble. His face is half covered by the white toga, the fabric soaked dark red. One arm lies outstretched, as if reaching for something that's no longer there. Brutus kneels beside him, whispering words no one can hear. Then he stands. "We are free men now," he says quietly. No one answers. Because somewhere deep inside, they all know the truth. They didn't save Rome. They broke it. Outside, a few bystanders gather near the theater steps, drawn by the noise. When the doors open and the senators emerge, their faces white and trembling, the crowd senses something terrible. Then someone shouts, "Caesar is dead!" It ripples through the forum like fire through dry grass. Caesar, dead. The words echo from street to street, from the Palatine to the Aventine, across bridges, through markets, into every tavern. By the time Antony reaches the theater, it's too late. The body lies on the cold floor, surrounded by marble silence. He drops to one knee beside his fallen friend. For a long time, he doesn't move. Then he looks up. Around him, the assassins are gone. Cowards fled before the mob could form. Antony's voice is low, almost shaking. "You thought you freed Rome," he says into the empty hall. but all you've done is bury it." He covers Caesar's face again with the toga. Then he stands. Outside, the crowd is growing. People shout questions. Who did it? Why? Is it true? Antony doesn't answer. He just looks at them, eyes filled with fury. The conspirators regroup on the Capitol Hill. They try to calm the people, waving their hands, shouting that Rome is safe, that liberty has been restored. But the words don't stick. No one cheers. No one believes them. Freedom means nothing when your streets smell of blood. That night, the city glows red under torchlight. Rumors run faster than horses. Some say Caesar survived. Some say the gods struck him down. Others swear they saw his ghost wandering near the Forum, eyes burning like fire. In his villa, Calpurnia sits alone. The servants won't speak. They've already heard. She doesn't scream, doesn't cry. She just stares at the doorway, waiting for footsteps that will never come. Somewhere far away, thunder rolls across the sky. The night closes in. By morning, everything has changed. The republic that claimed to have saved itself now trembles on the edge of chaos. And the men who killed Caesar, the men who believed they'd restore democracy, will soon learn how fast the people can turn. Because Caesar's not just a name, he's an idea, and ideas don't die with the man. You can feel the storm building already. The air thickens, the whispers grow louder. Crowds begin to gather, holding torches, shouting his name. "Caesar! Caesar!" The Senate locks its doors. Brutus tries to reason with them, standing on the steps, his voice breaking. "Romans, we killed not a man but a tyrant." But the people don't want words. They want revenge. Antony steps forward through the mob, holding a parchment, Caesar's will. The conspirators watch from the balcony as he raises it high. He shouts for silence, and when the noise fades, he begins to read. The crowd falls silent as Antony unrolls the parchment. The paper shakes slightly in his hands, not from fear, but from rage barely contained. He looks down at the body of Caesar one last time. Then he looks up at Rome. "This," he says, voice cutting through the noise, "is the will of Julius Caesar." He pauses just long enough for the weight of it to sink in. People lean forward. Guards shift uneasily. The conspirators exchange glances. Antony begins to read. "To every Roman citizen," he says slowly, "I leave 300 silver coins." The crowd gasps. Murmurs ripple through the forum. 300 silver coins for everyone. A gift from the man they just watched die. Antony continues, "I also leave my gardens to the people of Rome, forever." He looks up. His eyes find the men who called themselves liberators. "You thought he was your tyrant," he says, "but he was their hero." The crowd erupts. Anger, grief, betrayal, all boiling over at once. They came to mourn. Now they want blood. Brutus tries to speak again, but no one listens. His words are drowned beneath 1,000 voices shouting Caesar's name. Someone throws a torch, then another. Soon the entire square is a sea of firelight. Antony doesn't stop them. He doesn't have to. The city has chosen its side. By nightfall, Rome burns with fury. Crowds storm through the streets, tearing down the homes of the conspirators, dragging statues of Caesar through the smoke like relics of a fallen god. The men who killed him scatter, running for their lives. Brutus and Cassius flee east, raising legions in desperation. They still tell themselves it was for freedom, that they can save what's left of the Republic. But deep down, they already know. They've unleashed something they can't control. Civil war follows. 17 years of it. Rome, the center of the world, devours itself.
Armies march under Caesar's name. Antony fights for revenge. Octavian, Caesar's young adopted heir, fights for power. Brothers kill brothers, friends turn enemies. The blood that began in the Senate spreads across continents. Everywhere Caesar once conquered, Rome now bleeds. And one by one, the men who stabbed him fall. Cassius dies first. Cornered in battle, he orders his own sword-bearer to strike. Brutus lasts longer, leading his men until the final defeat. When he sees the end is near, he throws himself onto his blade, the same steel that once cut Caesar's flesh. He whispers one last time. Not a prayer, not a curse, just a name. Caesar. When news reaches Rome, Antony says quietly, "The noblest Roman of them all." But it's not admiration. It's mourning for a friend who lost his way. The republic they died for? Gone. What rises in its place will last for centuries. Octavian returns to Rome, young, patient, brilliant. He promises peace. He calls it Pax Romana. But peace under one man's rule is not the republic. It's an empire. He takes a new name, Augustus. He wears the crown Caesar refused. And the Senate that once stabbed a dictator now kneels to an emperor. Rome belongs to one man again, only this time, no one dares to lift a knife. The irony is almost divine. The men who killed Caesar to stop tyranny created it instead. Their daggers ended a life and began an empire. Centuries pass. The empire grows. Caesar's name becomes a title, Kaiser, Czar, Tsar. Kings and dictators across history claim his legacy. They all want what he had, the power, the myth, the echo. But in the end, that's what makes Caesar eternal. He didn't just rule Rome, he rewired how power itself works. Even now, his story repeats. Every leader, every revolution, every fall. You can still feel it in the world today. The same tension between power and fear, loyalty and betrayal. The same silence before the knife. 2,000 years later, historians still argue who he really was. A tyrant, a genius, a savior who went too far. Maybe all of it. Maybe none. What's certain is this. On that morning in March, he believed he was untouchable, and that belief killed him. Because power does something strange to the human mind. It makes you think the rules don't apply anymore, that destiny works for you, not against you, that the warnings are for other people. But history doesn't play favorites. It always balances the scales. Caesar ignored 8 warnings. He had 3 chances to walk away. He didn't take a single one. And when the final moment came, it wasn't a general or a rival who killed him. It was a friend. That's the thing about power. It never dies clean. The morning after his death, the sun rose the same way it always had. The streets filled again. The markets opened. Rome moved on. But if you listen closely, you can almost hear the echo of that day, the clash of steel, the gasp of betrayal, the silence after the fall. It's the sound of a world realizing that even gods can bleed. Julius Caesar didn't just die on the floor of the Senate. He became a lesson carved into time, a warning whispered through every century since. Power makes you deaf. Arrogance makes you blind. And history? History always finds the knife. If that changed how you see power, remember it, because the next warning you ignore might be your own. And somewhere, someone will say again, beware the Ides of March.